The DeMeco Ryans decision and Nick Caserio decision to hire Nick Caley is getting a lot of attention. However, it's not the most important move that DeMeco Ryans will make or has made this offseason. It is the locker room number one source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. You can see me here throughout the week, also on SNL as well. We've been all over this. And I would say the fan base, cautiously optimistic when it comes to Nick Caley. I don't think there's a lot of pushback based on the candidates. I think this is the best hire you could make. He was the most sought after offensive coordinator candidate. He has the most impressive background. He's worked the last couple years with Sean McVay. Before that, he was in New England. So he has the Caserio and kind of DeMeco ties indirectly when it comes to the system with DeMeco. And I think the fan base is relatively happy. And I think the fan base relatively trusts what DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caserio will do. And I think it has more to do with what happened about a week and a half ago than what happened yesterday when Nick Caley was hired. And DeMeco Ryans' decision, biggest decision, most impressive decision, was his decision to say goodbye to his buddy Bobby Slowick. DeMeco could have easily. Now, it would have definitely been resisted, and it definitely would have been a dangerous thing to do based on what we saw last season and what we heard. But DeMeco could have easily convinced himself, hey, we're back-to-back division champs. We've won a playoff game the last 2 years. Bobby Slowick was good in year one, or at least the offense was good. We can run it back with Bobby Slowick and just see how this goes. And had Bobby Slowick not had a good year three, DeMeco Ryans would have been able to fire Bobby Slowick, and he still would have been here, and he would have been able to figure out what he wants to do. But DeMeco Ryans showed he's not interested in kicking the can down the road. It's not about survival mode. It's about going from good to great. And we're still learning about DeMeco Ryans. I think a lot of us wonder, does he have that in him? Does DeMeco Ryans have it in him to proactively fire an offensive coordinator when things are going somewhat good? And you could easily convince yourself to keep him around. He did not do that. And we're still learning about DeMeco Ryans. And all these off seasons are going to be different with where he took over in the current process and in the current regime. Year one, he had all that draft equity. He acquired CJ Stroud, Will Anderson. Year two, he had more cap space. So he spent cap space to try to improve the team. And he still was aggressive in the draft. He created what could be a championship caliber defense, and he had the question marks on offense. They made the trade for Stephon Diggs as well. This offseason, cap's a little bit tighter. Pressure's kind of intensifying. You're going to have to make decisions and decide how you're going to pay players. We don't know what his tendencies are. Like after 6-7 years, you can figure out what tendencies are. We're still kind of learning them. But the most encouraging thing about DeMeco Ryans and where DeMeco Ryans had the home run decision was firing Bobby Slowick, because he practiced a philosophy that is very popular in Houston, and it's incredibly popular right here in the locker room. And that's do not ignore in victory what you would not otherwise ignore in defeat. That's the Jeff Van Gundy quote. I think it's the best quote in sports. Sometimes you simplify your line of thinking to where, oh, we won the game. It doesn't matter. Remember the Bill O'Brien? Doesn't matter, Brian. We look like crap. Doesn't matter, Brian. And no changes are made. DeMeco Ryans made the change with Bobby Slowick. He saw what a lot of people saw, and he made the decision. And that's why DeMeco Ryans, like when you talk about home run hires, when you talk about fan base, the reaction to this Nick Caley thing isn't as intense because DeMeco Ryans has shown that he's proactively making the decision. Had he drugged this out another year with Bobby Slowick and then hired Nick Caley, I think there might be a little bit more pushback on the hire. But when you show that you're proactively looking past results, the fan base starts to trust you. And DeMeco Ryans did that. He earned the trust of the fan base. He might have already had it, but the skeptical, hey, let's get great. Let's not look back at when things were really bad as a way to appreciate where we are right now. Let's get great. That portion of the fan base, I think they appreciate that DeMeco Ryans proactively made this decision. And I think it was the right hire based on the candidates. I think hiring an internal candidate would have been very, very, very alarming, especially if that didn't work. Now, do those guys hang around on the staff? Perhaps, but I would not have been in favor of that. I think bringing in a guy that's worked with McVay, bringing in a guy that Caserio knows, and another interesting fact about Nick Caley, he's got the background as a tight end coach. There's NFL head coaches that were tight end coaches. Ben Johnson most sought-after guy the last couple of years now with the Bears. Kevin Stefanski, two-time coach of the year with the Browns. Andy Reid, he's been the offensive coordinator and head coach for a quarter of a century. And then Sean McVay, who was a tight end coach in Washington before he became the boy wonder, won the Super Bowl with the Rams. So it's an interesting background. The tight end background has a lot of success. Those are very, very respected names, a lot of hardware there. So maybe that's something to keep an eye on when it comes to trying to get fired up about this hire. There's definitely uncertainties, though. We don't know what kind of system Nick Caley's going to run. We don't know if he's going to be good at calling plays. We don't know what the personnel is going to look like. There are not a lot of offensive coordinators, even the guys I previously mentioned, that could have an inordinate amount of success with this offensive personnel. They've got to figure that out as well. I know the name Cooper Kupp's getting brought up. There's a lot of veteran receivers out there. Maybe you draft a receiver as well. Got to fix the offensive line. I'm sure he's going to have some opinions on the tight end coach, running back depth. There's a lot there, but you got the appropriate amount of assets. And on the other side, DeMeco's kind of built a championship-ish caliber defense. But the one thing that we've learned about DeMeco Ryans early on is he's willing to make the tough decisions. And the toughest decision was not hiring Nick Caley. It was firing Bobby Slowick. It might be easy to you or me, easier said than done with a lot of coaches. Even some of the best coaches have kept guys around 1 year, 2 years too long. But the clock's ticking when you got C.J. Stroud on his rookie deal, when you're trying to win, when you're trying to strike while the iron's hot. DeMeco Ryans showed, hey, we're trying to be aggressive. We're trying to figure it out. And the other thing he did is, as a defensive coach, he showed he's not just going to neglect the offense. He's going to proactively try to make the decision. So the Nick Caley decision, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of question marks. But the one thing you know for sure, DeMeco Ryans is proactively trying to fix that ish. It's the Locker Room #1 source for Texans digital content. Always remember, when it comes to this Texans stuff, we're all in it together. Thanks for coming through.